Next on, we're going to have Jonathan Tame and Roger Wilson. They're going to kindly explain about carbon balancing, how that works, and a background to the World Land Trust as well. So if I could invite them on the stage. Wow.
Good afternoon.
Just moving that.
Thanks, Peter. First of all, Peter, Denmaur, thank you very much for inviting us today to talk to you about what carbon balanced paper is. For those who don't know me, and many I know in the audience do, I can see those are the ones who are looking slightly disinterested. If you cut me through the middle, I've got rings like a tree. I come from a paper and print related background. The last 7 years I've been involved in sustainability issues of various one level or another, but today I'm here on behalf of CarbonCo. I'm a director of CarbonCo, and really just to put some context into what CarbonCo is, we are simply managing the carbon balanced paper initiative on behalf of the World Land Trust. So Roger, who I'll introduce you to later, and he'll explain exactly what the World Land Trust do. They can get on with doing the good things in terms of going out, finding the right land, making sure it's managed in the right way, and we can do the, I don't like to use the word the commercial part, but to really support the industry, particularly to support the partners like Denmaur and printers understand why this is a really good opportunity for them. So it's not new, it's been around for a while. We're absolutely delighted that Revive has been relaunched. It's going to be carbon balanced. And the key message I want to leave with you is this is a really, really simple way for you to help your customers reduce the impacts of their marketing communications. So this isn't new to you. This is about sustainable paper solutions, and these have been around for a long time. FSC, Recycle, PEFC. We have a good history to talk about in terms of how we help people reduce the impacts of their paper-based communications. Carbon balanced sits alongside these. It doesn't replace any of them, but what it does is it's looking very specifically at the carbon emissions related to the manufacture and distribution of product. And I would have loved Jonathan to be alongside me in presenting to many board meetings of why this is going to be important, dating back for 5 years. But I think the message is really clear. Industry is going to be increasingly focused on carbon reductions, and you can help your customers do this simply through the choice of paper and print. So these are my scene-setting slides. I don't need that because between Tom and Jonathan, they've done a really, really good job. But climate change is with us, we know that. And business is very, very focused, increasingly so, both through legislation, but the other really important thing not to overlook is about their corporate responsibility. And all organisations now in the FTSE 500 are making public statements about how they're trying to contain and reduce their carbon emissions. So these are my few scene-setting slides, but it's just really to make you realise that your customers, okay, the paper buyer himself might not know about that organisation's commitment to reduce their impacts. But at CEO level, at board level, these discussions are happening within the largest organisations in the UK about how they can reduce their carbon emissions, including government. And there is, it's got a little light, it has got a little light here, including government, sustainable procurement objective is with a focus on carbon. And this is really your opportunity as print providers to say to your customers, we know you have carbon reduction objectives and we can help you deliver that. And that's really what today is about. It's about carbon balanced paper for me, helping you understand how you can do that through the Revive product. So, very simple. Revive is carbon balanced, and Dan is going to talk a little bit more specifically about what that means and how that works. But what it does is customers of yours who are interested in reducing their environmental impact, they're asking you about FSC, they're asking you for recycled. Where you've got customers who are interested in this, you can also use the benefit that Revive is carbon balanced, so an additional environmental claim they can make. Now, as far as carbon balancing and what it means, I'm very lucky I've got Roger with me today, who is the brains behind what the World Land Trust do. Probably not alone. There are lots of people who work at the Land Trust who are equally clever. But Roger is here to talk very specifically about what the World Land Trust do. For me, and I want to get my part across too, the important thing is the World Land Trust are an ecological charity. These are not industrial carbon offsetting schemes linked to new energy. It is voluntary offsetting, and it goes to what Jonathan says, which is about best use of land and accepting that trees, I'm not going to say singly, but are one of the best and most natural ways to remove CO2 from the atmosphere, and it is critically important for future generations. I will leave this to Roger, but I just wanted to get my key point about this. It's not about industrial offsetting schemes. Carbon balance has, oops, they're going a bit fast, bear with me. There we go. Carbon balance has an awareness. It has been used by over 2,000 brands in the past, and we're going to be doing a lot of effort to actually promote awareness of it, particularly through the Revive brand, because this really allows printers to adopt it very easily and take this message to your customers. What supports this and what helps you with the message? So what tools do you have to help you explain what carbon balanced is to your customers? We've got a very detailed website which explains who the World Land Trust are, how carbon is balanced. There's a really important panel I'd urge you all to look at and to get your staff to view, which is 3 key videos about what carbon balanced is, what carbon balanced paper is, and the projects. And Roger's going to show those as part of his presentation, or at least a couple of these videos. But if you want to communicate this to your staff and to get your staff brought in and understanding, there is a very simple resource that you can direct your staff to look at online to explain what this initiative and the benefits are. We have a calculator. The calculator works very simply. You put in a sheet quantity, you put in a product, you put in a size and weight. One is on sheets, the other one below is on kilos, and when you press calculate, it will tell you the amount of carbon that will need to be balanced to carbon balance at order, and the amount of equivalent land that would preserve through the World Land Trust. And it's absolutely tangible. By carbon balancing that order, it will protect that amount of land through the World Land Trust. And when you register jobs, and you need to register these jobs, and I'll explain why, it sends you a logo, you will also get a summary confirmation email through to you. So with the job number, it might be B Sky B and price list, whatever it might be. But it will email you through immediately a confirmation of these tangible benefits and impacts you can then share with your customer. It will send you a logo. So there is a logo. It is numbered, and it relates to that specific job that you have registered, and you can only use that number logo on that particular job. But it's instantaneous. It happens immediately. And there's plenty of information to support it. So we have information sheets, which explains what the process are, which can help your salespeople explain what the benefits are for them. And we have produced, with the World Land Trust, 2 4-page A5 brochures, which explains particularly about what carbon balanced is, the programme, and particularly the work that's happening in Vietnam and the benefits and the ecological benefits that these projects deliver. And at the end of the year, if you're registering many jobs for a client like Wilmslow University, I don't know if it exists, hopefully not, because I did make it up last night, it's spurious. But by the end of that year, if you've registered jobs on a regular basis, we can then produce a consolidated summary certificate, which you can then present to your clients to demonstrate and show them how they've managed to reduce their emissions. They can then use that within their reporting and within their CSR communications. And if you're doing any pitches, if you're doing any pitches for new business, if you know your customer has a carbon reduction objective, with Denmaur, we can produce these draft certificates for you that you can actually use these as part of your pitch, why people should actually use you and how you can help them. I think the most important thing for me is, in my time, I've helped a lot of printers where we've been taken. One really good example, the MD said, please come and talk to our staff about why this is important. And after about 10, 15 minutes, they say, well, look, Jonathan, none of our customers has ever asked us for this. And that's for Q, when we've done a bit of research, to be able to show their key customers and say, look, all of your customers have carbon reduction statements. The print buyer probably doesn't know, but someone within that business does. There is a really good opportunity for you, the print industry, to help your customers, to deepen your relationship, to help them meet their objectives, and even go to different touch points within those businesses outside of perhaps the paper buyer alone. I know we're taking questions later, and I'm sure I'll get a few, but for me, can I introduce Roger Wilson, who is the Senior Conservationist at the World Land Trust. And Roger is going to talk more specifically about who the World Land Trust are and the projects that they run. Thank you, Roger.